We're going to walk you through the installation of the J&L oil separator for your express van with the 6.6 liter. Including the J&L kit is a fully assembled oil separator with quick connect fittings, a mounting bracket, 2 mounting screws, a mounting nut. The tools you're going to need for installation is a 10mm socket, an 8mm socket, a short extension, a ratchet, 10mm wrench, Phillips head screwdriver, light oil. Any engine oil will work. A clip puller tool is convenient, but you could also get by with a flathead screwdriver if you don't have a clip puller tool. Let's get started. Our first step, we need to get our air box out of the way. First thing we're going to do is unplug our MAF sensor. You'll notice it has a white tab. You could also have a red tab here sometimes too. This is a security tab. You actually have to pull this tab this way. Just grab it with your fingernail. You'll hear it snap. Sometimes it's stuck, but hear that snap, that disengages the lock, and then you press down on the large portion of that tab and slide your plug off. So again, that's the security tab. Then we need to loosen up this clamp here, 8mm socket or 5/16 socket. Either will work. You could also use a screwdriver, but sockets are much easier. So loosen that up. And then these two 10mm bolts hold the airbox down. So now our airbox should be loose. It is sitting in 2 rubber grommets, so you got to lift up on it and then pull it off of the pipe. Next, we're going to remove this portion of the intake also. To get this off, we're just going to loosen up this clamp here, same 8mm head, and then also this is sitting in 2 rubber grommets that you have to pull up and to get it to yank out of there, but it's not too bad to do. So let's loosen up our clamp first. And then just lift up, you'll hear it pop out. There's those two. So this one, actually only one of the rubber grommets came with it. One's still sitting in the bracket. When we go to reassemble, we're going to pull these off and push it into the hole, and it installs much easier. Now we're going to locate our factory PCV line here, which is this line that we just exposed. It goes from this driver's side valve cover on the front to the intake manifold. This, I'm going to pull it off of the valve cover first. I'll show you how I'm going to do this. It's got a push button on the front of it, so you push the button in and lift up. And then the same on the intake fitting, push the button down and pull off. So these are the buttons, releases the fitting. You can see all the oil in that line. We're going to go and get our oil separator ready for installation. Take our mounting bracket. You see there's 2 logos. Just going to align those 2 logos, and then you're going to use the supplied screws to fasten the bracket to the oil separator. Start both your screws before tightening them. Now before installing our connections, we're going to lubricate both of these fitting shafts with just a little bit of oil. So I got this oil dropper here. I'm just going to put a little oil on my fingertips. Any motor oil will do. Anything slippery you got. It doesn't have to be anything specific. This is going to ensure that our fittings push right into place because they're brand new and dry. They got a couple O-rings in them. So that's going to allow them to install very easily. So, as you can imagine kind of how this is laying out, this is the way the hose, you want your hose to be that's going to go to your intake. Notice that our fitting is facing 90 degrees out. If for whatever reason your fitting is facing this way, it moves. Just take it and twist it, okay? Also, you notice the natural curvature of our hose is going away from the oil separator. This comes on a reel, so use that to your advantage. So I'm going to plug this on to the intake fitting. You hear it snap into place, nice and easy. And then the hose with the straight fitting is going to go onto our PCV. Nice positive snap. And for now, we're just going to let this hang because we need to reinstall that box that we removed here before we mount this. Now, I'm going to remove this rubber grommet from this box because it is very, very difficult to push this box into those circles. It's much easier to put the grommets into that bracket. I'm going to use this nifty little clip puller tool I have, but a flathead screwdriver will do this. Also, do this on the ground so you don't doink it off and it falls into the engine bay. I'm doing this just for the sake of how my camera's set up. But that pulls right off. You can see it's just a raised little stud there. And this is going to install back into this bracket. Okay, that should be loose in there. And then we're going to reinstall this box. So this box I'm going to feed into the coupler first. You'll notice it's got a groove here for the little protruding portion there. So feed that down into place. Into the coupler first. And then check your alignment on those two little studs and your grommets, and then you should be able to just push them in. And those are in. Check your hoses, make sure you haven't pinched either one of your hoses. I haven't. And then let's tighten up that clamp. If you are using a power ratchet such as I am, just try to be careful that you don't over tighten these clamps. They just need to be tight enough to seal air. You don't want to crush this plastic. So if you have a nut driver, that's easier to not do that. So now we're going to mount our oil separator. It's going to mount to this stud here. There's two studs, but the one closest to the driver's side fender. Our bracket's going to slide right over that stud. You're going to use the supplied 10mm nut. And we're going to go and tighten that up with a 10mm wrench. It's a little tight here to get a ratchet in. So snug it up by hand as much as you can and then just lock her down with your wrench. It's nice to support this bracket because it's going to want to twist when you go down. There you go. That's nice and sturdy. Now to reinstall our air box. Again, I'm going to align my coupler onto the tube first. So get that seated onto the tube. And then remember, this had two rubber grommets here. It's going to sit on these two studs. So get those aligned, push that down. You hear that snap in. And then I'm going to tighten up my clamp first. I'm going to plug in our sensor. And then don't forget to push in the security tab. Like so. And then we just need to reinstall our bolts. Start these by hand. And just check everything. Everything's nice and snug. And that completes your installation. Pretty easy one. You'll see our oil separator sits very nicely there, right in between the two boxes. Still have room to get your hand on it to loosen it and service it. This is compatible with our extension that doubles the capacity, takes it from 3 ounces to 6 ounces. Your average collection on these GM V8s, and not only this express van, but we do a lot of these in the 25 and 3500 pickup trucks. You're going to see about 1 ounce of oil every 1,000 miles. So again, the can holds 3 as it sits. So it's something you're going to want to keep an eye on. We recommend that you do check it after 1,000 miles because every vehicle can be different. Also driving situations. If you live in a cold climate, you're going to get a little moisture in the can that's going to mix with that oil in the winter months, and that's just due to the can is going to be very cold as it's remote mounted. It's going to be getting blasted with cold air as you drive down the road, but the air entering the can is 200, 250 degrees, so you get condensation buildup like a hot shower in a cold bathroom. You're going to get a little steam. So when you check it, you might see something that looks more like a milkshake, so don't be alarmed. That's completely normal. But you're going to want to check it a little bit more frequently in the winter months if you live somewhere cold. Beyond that, easy to get to. Our fittings disconnect the same way the factory ones do, the little push button. So if you ever need to uninstall this to service it, you certainly can. Make sure you hang on to your factory line. You never know when you might need a return for stock. But other than that, that pretty much covers it. If you have any questions, reach out. And we appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.